Hello and welcome to our April 6th Gateway Rotary Thursday meeting. We are so happy to see so many wonderful faces. Our faces, old faces. You can combine that one. We have a lot to do today, so we're going to get rolling. I'm going to start with Jenny Jackson. She's going to be leading us in the pledge and the 4-way test. Beautiful and lovely gathering. Yeah. Please follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. And our inspiration here, the person to aspire to inspire us today, Don Jones. Come on.
Okay, this is Uncle John talking to you here. All right. First of all, I learned this one from my wife. I'm still practicing. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right. I learned this from my laugh partner, Jodi, and that is never a piece of careless work. And here's something to balance. Good enough rarely is, but don't let the perfect get in the way of the good. Things are good when you're happy, but a lot better when others are happy because of you. And now here's the tough one. Ask yourself, what does your partner need? What do you think? Get her done.
Has more meaning than you know. Okay, well, I am here to welcome all you people, and there's so many people I don't even know where to begin to welcome people. We have Jim Polk visiting, who is a former district governor. Hello, Jim. Thank you for joining us. Rotary. We also have several people. I don't know if Jodi wants to introduce her crew, so here we'll get her up. I'll let you see yours. Oh, good for you. And here, oh, now not here. Surprise, I brought a bunch of my very best friends with me today, and starting off first with my husband, Mike. Get this down a little bit. My very good friends that I met originally from Posse, that would become my family, Dave and Pat Hall. And then my best buddies from school. I got Joe DeShane, Volusia, sorry, I'm going back to high school. Connie Landis, Reichenbach. And Jackie Bryant. I got Gallo Freedom. That's right. I see a couple of our new members who are here. Michelle Gallus is here. Wave hello, Michelle. And Becca Martin is also here as well. So I welcome you. And we have Kevin Higgins, who is a guest today, but Lisa, who will be a part of our little presentation. So great. It's happy to have everybody here. Claudia, do we have any more cards or do we sell out?
No, we do have 7 cards.
So there are 7 cards. If anybody wants a card, so that's a chance to win the 50-50. Who else do we have here? I did. Okay, so good. Yes, I tried. I've been going around my eyeballs and see if there's anybody I didn't recognize. And of course, we also have here some special guests, Kylie Belside at the boss, and they will be speaking just shortly.
So with that, I'm gonna go through a few announcements. We will continue with the food drive as we go through the rest of the year. So if you have extra food that you can bring in for kids, backpacks, that would be great. There are there are Porch Fest t-shirts in the back for $10. If anybody's interested in buying Porch Fest t-shirts. We also have the working t-shirts for $15 back in the back. Those say, actually, what I love about them is as we go out and clean up, it says Rotarians at work. And the whole purpose of that is when we get out and about, we let people know that, yes, we are out there working for good things. So that's the purpose of that one. So we've got that. We have a district of today after the meeting, there's going to be Porch Fest meeting. Daniela was here to lead us with that. And we will be going out today at 6 o'clock to gather hopefully the last round of signatures to close 4th Street for our Porch Fest. Those of you who are interested in Rotary, there's a great learning assembly that they hold every year. I went back last April. It's April 11th this year. It's in Cottage Grove. It's a one-day event, and it starts at 8:30. Actually, if you want the food, start at 8. So 3:30, Cottage Grove High School. And if you go to DACDB, you can just register when you get up there. But they have some breakout sessions, and it teaches you a lot about Rotary, what it is, what they do. I went last year, as did Mary and Greg. They were there last year, as was Jenny Jackson, and I think we all learned a lot at that session. So we also have the 4 Club Rotary Social, April 22nd, 4:30 to 6:30. I sent the RSVP out to people if they want to RSVP online. That I'm hoping to get a lot of turnout for that as well, because I know we have a great club and we need to talk about all the wonderful things we do. I am planning a cleanup day on May 2nd. May 9th, I don't see him here, but Rob Brandis is going to come by this week or next week to get signatures for the Rotary event. I wasn't sure what he wanted or needed, so I asked him to stop by. He had jury duty, so he obviously got caught up at jury duty, poor guy. So it'll be next week. And then I know Jan wanted to correct my email. I'm making a lot of mistakes in the last few days. I don't know if that 7-0 is having an effect on me.
Okay, so the weekly newsletter that we got has a couple of eight errors. The last day for making, talking about the clothing fair, okay? And the last day for making donations is Friday, April 10th. We'd love to receive your donations before the 10th. But if you have, so we have more time to sort them, excuse me. We get piles and piles of things the last day at the clothing fair, and so it'd be really helpful if you could bring those sooner. The clothing fair is on Saturday, April the 18th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We constantly bring in more clothing during the day to refresh the rack, so you can come anytime between 9 and 2 and get really great stuff. We accept men's and women's clothing and shoes, as well as purses and items are all $2. Everything $2. Fabulous things, wedding dresses, you name it, they're $2. We actually sold one to a young woman who bought her wedding dress at the clothing fair for $2. So pretty exciting. Anyhow, so all of this benefits Women's Crisis Support Team, which all really thrilled to have a member of our club. So please come and bring us some good stuff and then buy some good stuff.
Where is it at?
The Bear Hotel. The Bear Hotel. Yes, they have a drop box there for clothing. Because remember, I have some in the back of my car. I did that yesterday. Yeah, it's at the Bear Hotel. That's where you drop the clothing off, and that's also where they will hold it on April 18th.
Yeah.
It's the 25th. I'm going to the Oregon spring game, and I knew there was a reason I wasn't doing the cleanup in April. It was because my husband wants me to join him for the spring game, and every now and then I have to squeeze my husband in. We know how that goes. Poor guy. All right. So other announcements. Is there anybody else who has an announcement? If not, then we're gonna just rip ahead. Oh, wait a minute, Greg. It's gonna bring up here real quick.
How quick we have to be because I have a quiz. There's, okay. April 15th has a few things for you to remember. One is the start of the 20% match for Earth Week for your blue bags. So you have some, save them, and bring them in on April 15th to the 26th. 20% match. Thanks.
Thank you. We have blue bags in the back, correct? So if anybody needs blue bags, they're in the back. It's all ready to go. You put your things in and you just drop it off. So it's great. Okay, and with that, I have a very special guest, and I just wanted to say this year we've done something a little different. We've had a non-vocational award, and we've honored several people in our community who are doing wonderful things in their vocation that are really important in our community. And we had nominations, and Kylie, I almost got it, count myself, unfortunately too late. Kylie Delsite is here from the Josephine County Food and Friends Program. And we all know how vital the Food and Friends Program is here in Josephine County. What they do, she's the person who puts the volunteers together. And I mean, that's gotta be like herding cats, because yes, we know how else great volunteers we are, but sometimes other things come into our lives. So I give her super credit for what she does. I'm gonna have Kevin come up, Lisa's husband, and speak a couple of words because he knows Kylie, and then we'll present her with an award and let her tell us what she does.
Thanks, Valerie. And I'd like to thank this Rotary group for having us, and thank Lisa for having me. And I didn't say putting up with me. The award is a service above self, and I when Lisa was asking me who in the community am I aware of that embodies that award, I just think of no one better than Kylie. She's the site coordinator or one of the leads at the local Josephine County site. And over 6+ years with the program has had a number of different roles. Most recently, I think she's actually the home delivery coordinator. And that's kind of the role that I've known her in, as well as previously in the volunteer. I think it's perfect for Rotary because the test that was listed out earlier, the third one of it is will it build goodwill in relationships for all, friendships for all. And that's kind of what the program is all about. It's like getting out to people who are unable to get out and providing them with a token of support and goodwill, which translates into the relationships and friendships that open up as a result. I would like to use that Buddhism has 3 different commitments or vows, and I like the list of those as well. Initially, do no harm, take care of one another, which fits, and embrace the world as it is. And for Kylie, it's the second one, I think, that has a subset, I guess, that's be fully present is part of that. And this is something that with Kylie, from the very start, I noticed in the chaos of the outgoing the food program, getting things together with all the volunteers going out and trying to organize things. Actually, you do a great job because mostly it's pretty smooth. But it can be chaos at times with different challenges coming up. And with Kylie, it's always from one person to the next and being present with them and looking and locking right in on them so they know they're being listened to, and they know that they're being heard. And she connects with everybody that way. I know even today we're talking about everything. She's looking. I'm looking, it's like, what am I gonna say after Kylie's like looking at who are these people that they're introducing, and she wants to know that. So I'm really proud to present Kylie. John Pfefferly, her supervisor, is here as well. But Kylie Nelson, come on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, I appreciate it. This is awesome. Well, thank you guys for inviting me today. I'm not a public speaker. This is the first time actually looking at everybody there. So I wrote me a letter for me to read. That's funny. So my name is Kylie Delsite, and I want to thank you guys for inviting me here today. And Kevin, thank you so much. That was really nice of you. You say all good things. So it's a pleasure for me to be acknowledged by the Road Gateway Rotary Club, and I really appreciate being here. Sorry. So I was born and raised in the Philippines, and as a young adult, I spent a little time in Japan. In my early 20s, I decided to expand my wings and move to the US. And I was young and I wanted to have an adventure, so I've always enjoyed caring for others. And so I spent many years working as a caregiver. I cherish working with my clients and their families, and I appreciated the feeling that I was making a difference in someone's life. I currently work for Road Valley Council of Governments Food and Friends Program, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about, talk about the program because I feel that it is important work, and I like sharing information about what we do. We were established in 2001, and we provide meals to older adults in Jackson and Josephine counties. We just hit a major milestone celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. Yeah. Okay, so I have always known about the Meals on Wheels program, and I knew that it was great benefit to many older adults. I wanted to continue to help. I wanted to continue to help others, so I started as a volunteer driver in White City in the beginning. Once I was participating in the program, I was hooked. I wanted to contribute more. When they had a position open, I knew I had to apply and get this job. I was hired in 2019 to fill the role for a meal site coordinator for the Central Point meal site. And at that site, I organized the home delivery meals for the Central Point and the North Medford areas, as well as coordinated with many wonderful volunteers that assisted at that site. So that was my experience before coming here. In 2021, I applied for this position that I have now and was transferred. And now I perform the home delivery coordinator and volunteer coordinator in Josephine County. There's only one, and that's me. I love connecting with the clients and volunteers in this location. I love being part of the community, and I appreciate how supportive the staff. My boss right there is very, very supportive. I know about that. And the volunteers and with each other, we do support each other. And so we are all in this together. We encourage each other daily and to be the best people that we can be. Sorry. I look forward to continuing meeting new people and helping older adults in the community. I look forward to seeing our volunteers as they are such amazing people. We lift each other up, and I'm thankful that I'm in this position, and I feel it makes me a better person when I spend time with helping them. Thank you.
Just to point out too that John will be here, and any details of the program or any other questions you have, please,
Yeah.
please direct.
If you guys have any questions, my supervisor is here to answer.
That's what supervisors are for. Well, thank you, Kylie, and I can't tell you how much we do appreciate what you do. Thank you very much. I was when my mother actually was saved by her food and friends person. She lived on Springfield and she fell and she lived all alone. And it was the food and friends person who found her and was able to get her help. So I'm forever grateful to those volunteers who do that. So that's wonderful. Okay, so here and now we're beginning to celebrate our very own Jodi, who definitely after 30 years deserves a great celebration. I'm going to start off by having Jim Pope first come up because he is here from Illinois Valley to present a special award to Jodi. And this award came to me. They said, every year we want to do it. Super Rotarian award. And I said, who definitely deserves a Super Rotarian award than our very own Jodi MacDonald. So
I get the privilege of being here on behalf of Governor Chris, membership chair, cheerleader, Kelly Hill. Our current AG, Bruce Reese, because he couldn't be here. So they asked me to come in. Jodi, would you please come up? Just so I didn't give you the pop up. Superstar Rotarian. With all those areas with pins, so you get superstar pins. It is a star.
I love it.
Thank you very much. Now, before I take this off, I need to have Valerie and Gina Marie come up. She's going, what for? What did I do? In 2023 Rotary year, the Road Gateway Rotary Club contributed sufficiently to the Rotary Foundation Polio Plus Fund to get a certificate signed by Jennifer Jones, our first female Rotary International president in the LLC. And I wanted to be why it got this many years to get here. I have absolutely no idea, but on behalf of this Governor Amy and everybody else, congratulations.
Thank you.
And with that, I have another pin for Jodi. And this just came in the mail, but this is amazing to me. She has received for Paul Harris +7. And everybody, Paul Harris is $1,000 donation. And every $1,000 donation fee, beyond that, you get another little gem or that sort of thing. But to be +7 is above and beyond anything that you get expect. So I just knew this is the special time to give that to you. I'm just gonna keep this off. But there we go. Yes, Paul Harris +7. Thank you for all of you doing. And with that, we have her very special friend, Jamie, up here to give an introduction and to go on and have Jodi gift us with her very special.
Thank you, Valerie. Okay, so today we're celebrating Jodi's retirement from her job at Banner Bank. And I was really honored when I learned that Jodi requested that I introduce her today. Because while I've never worked with Jodi at her job, I've experienced her leadership, and she is someone I greatly admire. I've been fortunate enough to be a member of this club when Jodi was president, and also to work with her on some of the many projects that she has led us in, the dog care fair, Shoes That Fit, the backpack projects, and others. In my 14 years in this club, I've seen a lot of presidents stand up here. When I was asked to be president several years ago, I thought long and hard about what kind of president I wanted to be. And one of the first things I thought of was I want to do a lot of things just like Jodi did. Jodi has so many attributes that I appreciate. She has great communication skills. She is hyper organized. She keeps everyone focused on the goals. She makes sure everybody knows their job and what's expected of them. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't micromanage. She's a no-nonsense, detail-oriented person, which is why things don't fall through the cracks when Jodi's in charge. And Jodi doesn't make things about herself. It's always about the club or the project or the people who are going to benefit from what we're doing. I've said many times before that sometimes I like to work on a project because I'm passionate about it. Sometimes I want to work on a project or with the team because I really enjoy the people I'm working with. When Jodi leads a project, I know it's going to be successful, and I know I'm going to be really glad that I was part of it. With Jodi in charge, things get done, they run smoothly, and we usually have a really great time too. I've learned some real leadership skills from Jodi, and I'm so grateful that she's not retiring from this club because I hope to learn more from her. And I would encourage any of you newer Rotarians, if you want to gain leadership skills, work on a project with Jodi. Jodi, you've been an inspiration to me, and I want to thank you for that. And I look forward to many more years of working together with you on projects under your leadership in this club. And I want to wish you a sincere congratulations on your retirement. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Jodi up here for her retirement from her job and not from this club. Thank you.
It's all cried out.
Is it on? Yes. Hopefully, can we turn it down?
Yeah.
I'm loud anyway, so we don't need it to too loud. Yeah, it's been a very, very emotional week in particular with work and retiring after so long. So thank you all for being here and making me cry again. So they asked me to go ahead and do a vocational for, in fact, it's been a while since I've done one, but especially because there's a number of newer people in the club that hadn't heard anything about it during that particular time. So the life and times of Jodi MacDonald. I was born in. Next one.
Maybe working on it. Maybe not.
Who's junior Marie?
Come on, Gina. Maybe.
There we go.
All right.
I was born here in Grants Pass. I'm Grants Pass native, lived here my whole life. I have never moved out. Furthest I have moved is Hugo, which is still in Grants Pass. So it's kind of right there. That's my mom and my dad. Loved them dearly. They've been gone for a number of years, but they were my part. And I feel never if you got to meet my mom in particular, because she would come and join me in many things. These are my sisters. I've got my sister Dee, who's my oldest sister, and then my sister Shannon. They both live up in the Eugene area, and we are very close. It's really fun to be able to do things. We've been able to do on some joint vacations and stuff together and be able to be all together in that direction. And they're coming down tomorrow and Saturday, so we'll get to enjoy some time together also for my retirement. I also have two half brothers, or three half brothers, but wasn't really raised around them because my sisters are 12 and a half and 13 and a half years older than I am. And the boys were older than them. So wasn't kind of that familiar with them. So we aren't as close. Back to high school, I was a cheerleader. Actually, I was a cheerleader. See, the pom-pom is perfect. I was a cheerleader actually from my 6th grade year through my senior year. So many, many years worth of doing that. And you'll recognize Connie anyhow in some of these photos as well as me on these. And Jill had been a cheerleader with me at yours too. So it's fun to be able to kind of go back through there. Now, you want to talk about pom-poms. You want to talk about strength. See the size of our pom-poms? We didn't have those little whizzy pom-poms that we got out. We actually had muscle in them.
Little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I had been on the homecoming court for 4 years, and in my senior year, I actually won homecoming queen. And it was kind of fun because I was actually at a football game in my cheerleading uniform when I was crowned. So it was fun that they actually made it into the newspaper with my one of my good friends, Denise, who I'm hugging there in the photo, and then the other photos and stuff from our high school part. But that was a really fun time to be able to be there. Of course, back then in those days at North Valley High School, I was the first grade that went all 4 years through North Valley High School when it was first up. And so that was really cool, but we didn't have a football field there. So we actually played at the grandstand, in the fairgrounds. As you can tell, I didn't need a microphone. The megaphones weren't necessary. I also in my senior year, and I love this picture of my dad and I. This is one of my very favorite photos that I've ever had of my dad and myself. I was in the Miss Oregon National Teenager Pageant up in the Portland area. And that was quite an experience to go through a pageant. I was the first loser. I guess you call it the first runner-up. So, I didn't go on and travel for the nationwide contest, but that was okay because that kept me here and it kept me with the rest of my life that I've been able to love and have things going. So I definitely am thankful that I continued with my path that I got going here. The next photo is, I was in 4-H, horse 4-H for 8 years and co-leader for 2. So I started in 4-H when I was 10 years old. Rumba was my little gray over there. He was a horse that I'd actually bred and raised. He was out of Love, who's the one over here on this side. It was kind of funny because I was 10 years old. I got my first horse or my first pony when I was 3.5. And then horses have always been a part of my life. And you'll see, there's kind of a theme here to this. But anyway, I was 10 years old and my mom and dad took me to buy Love. Her name was Lovely Lady. She was also just a 2-year-old, unbroke. I hadn't really been training horses and I had a Greenboro horse, but you know what? It turned out fabulous. We had a great relationship. She really came a long ways. And then I bred and had Rumba out of her, and we actually did a lot of showing and that type of thing. So I think there might be a photo later of him. I coached the Grants Pass High School's equestrian team for 11 years. And so, we were there. It was a long adventure. Our season was like 6 months. And we would go every week. We would go to the fairgrounds on Thursdays and freeze our tail off through the winter. And we'd have different competitions. But we had a really, really successful group. And I was the performance coach and stuff. So I would do the different performance events, not the gaming events or the drill team. But we were very successful. By the time I left, we had been the most winning. Surprise, surprise! I'm kind of competitive. We were the most winning group that had been there at that particular time for all those years. And I started just about a year or so after SOSET became part of it. The next thing is some of my different horses. This white horse here was actually that little gray horse that you saw before. He actually had been born almost a brown. And ultimately, because of being half Arab, he turned out just solid white. Up in the top corner, I did used to do Gymkhana, which is barrel racing, pole bending, all those different types of events. And that horse, Buffy, is my little mare that I had there. And I had the 4 foals out of her throughout the course of time. Sandy is the one next to me, which is with me in the posse uniform. She's one of my current horses, and I've been showing her most recently and been taking her around. And the bottom picture is Riser. I used to show on the quarter horse circuit with her, and she was just a fabulous mare. She was one that I actually would let the kids in the high school equestrian team use. I didn't let them ride her because I didn't want them messing up the buttons that I have, but they did all the in-hand stuff. So trail, in-hand trail, showmanship and that type of thing. And she did very, very well for these kids, took many kids to state. So it was very nice to be able to share her in that regard. This is my heart horse. This is Imani. She was one that was born and raised out of that mare that I was just telling you about, Riser. Again, she's a half Arab, also born kind of brown and has turned completely white. But now she's actually even got the little freckles. So she's got the little brown freckles, which was the color that she was born. So it's really fun. But this was she and I carrying the American flag. I've been honored to carry the American flag at our OAMP show deal, which is a competition with all of the posses throughout the state. I've been able to carry that during Grand Entry for a number of years, and so I've been very pleased with that. But I love that picture of she and I. The next set of photos. The one on the right, the white one, is Donkey Doo. I got him last year in February, just absolutely fell in love with him. He was our neighbor's donkey, and he's just the cutest, funniest thing. If you've never had a donkey, which I never had a donkey before, he's not that big, his back stands about that tall. He's like a dog. I could be out trying to do tractor implements or something of that sort, and he's standing right there watching to make sure he's doing it right. Mike also hits golf balls out into the pasture in that Fordway arena, and he'll maybe take off his jacket or his sweatshirt and try to hang it on the fence. Oh no, you don't do that with donkey. He takes it, he runs off. He's quite a kid. The little Jenny next to him was his girlfriend, and they actually had a foal together, a little filly. And then I got him and let them have a free breeding back, so they bred again, so we'll find out this year if she actually took or not. But now we can't have children anymore, so it's kind of like, but that was a good thing, because now we can actually be out with my horses, because before that, I had mares and I didn't need to hold on with little mules for the night. And then the filly next to him is the one that I just bought in October. That was when she was 7 months old. I call her Susie after my mom. When I just saw her, she's almost got like the cross on her forehead, and she's just a doll. She's gonna be a big girl. She just turned 13 months and she's already as tall as Sandy, the buckskin. So she said she will be big. Then I got my sweetheart. Mike and I have been married for almost 40 years. It'll be 40 years this September. And so, you know, we've had a great marriage, a great relationship, and I couldn't ask for someone better. So that was our actual wedding photo up there in the corner. And I'd been married once before for a year and a half, so I didn't figure I was right to wear white, so we're like blue instead. But we got married in Pierce Park, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was really a fun time. The photo down here was at his sister's wedding, I believe. And then this was at one of our Christmas parties for the posse. And so we've had a really good relationship and a really good marriage, and look for another, well, maybe not 40 years. But both really, really old, but 100 years still to go. The next set of photos is my daughter. I love my daughter. She's in Georgia, so she's not able to be here. But she, the top picture is her and my mom. And the funny thing is Megan, I mean, she just had the Goldilocks hair, you know, the curly blonde hair. But the funny thing is, if you look at photos, back when I was about 3 years old or something like that, there was a photo of Mike about the same age, a photo of me about the same age. We look almost identical. And then you get the picture of Megan beside us, and other than the blonde hair instead of brown hair, she looked just like us. I mean, it's really kind of funny. But yeah, she's blonde haired and blue eyed and 6 foot tall. So it's like, okay, don't know where all that came from, but my dad had blue eyes, so I guess that's where it is. The middle photo is her senior picture, one of her senior pictures. The photo on the bottom is the first time she ever took me out flying. It was in a jet, Destro's plane. It was before they got the jet, so it was one of their other planes. And we were going out to Washington somewhere to pick somebody up, and so she was able to take me with her. And then I loved the other photo. That was her photo when they got married in 2019. She and Christian got married in 2019 in Hawaii. So we had a wonderful time there. Ended up with like 50 family members that ended up coming to Hawaii for her wedding, because we told her, I want to do a destination wedding. Nobody's going to come. That's a lot of expense. Hey, everybody liked it. They said it's a great vacation time. So they went ahead and came. Boxers are a major part of my life. I love my boxers. We've had 5 now. The 2 on the outside are Max and Bella. Just some different photos that I found. That's actually a young picture of Max. They just turned 7 on Sunday. So they've got that. The 2 in the middle were Boomer and Buddy, and we had them for 10 and 11 years. And just phenomenal dogs. They're boxers, had great energy, and they're funny and they're goofy, and they're just my kind of dogs. One of the things I love to do the most is I love to go out camping in our fifth wheel. And Winchester Bay RV Resort's one of my favorite places to go. But so this is what I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to do quite a bit here as I'm retired, is that we'll get to go out and camp a little bit more and be able to do it, take the dogs with us and stuff. So it really makes it a lot of fun to be able to do that. But that's one of my passions, is being able to go out camping. The next photo kind of is a timeline of stuff. So I've been in banking for 43 years this year. Started off at Family Bank of Commerce, which then became Valley of the Road Bank, which then became Umpqua Bank. And then I left there and I went to Premier West Bank. And I left there and went to Liberty, which became Home Federal, which became Bank of the Cascades. Wow. And then I left that one to go to Banner Bank. Actually, it was American West. I just don't count them because I was only there for a few months before it became Banner. But I had always looked so forward to Banner. I'd heard about Banner Bank when originally Home Federal was selling. We were going to be sold to Banner Bank. And there was a clause in there which apparently was unusual, and it allowed for another bank to come in and outbid, which happened, and that's when Bank of the Cascades came in and outbid them. So when Banner was coming to town, it was like fabulous, here I go, so I was really excited about that. Like I mentioned, I coached for the Grants Pass High School equestrian team for 11 years. For Gateway Rotary, I started in '97, and so been here for a long time. I was president in 2008, 2009, and then again in 2012 and 2013. So I've been very, very pleased to be able to serve our organization for different ways. I'm also part of the sheriff's posse here in town. I joined in 2011, and then I'm also on the board of the food bank. So happy about that. Those are my banners from when I was president the 2 different years for here at Rotary. And I always loved that one. I loved our phrase, make greens real. I love that saying. And then peace through service. It was just like, they were the 2 perfect things for my years. I love that. These are some of the things that some of you may not be as familiar with. So those of you that have been here for a long time, you might recognize and remember the middle one. I was a co-chair with Patty Baker, and we used to put on a gala. We only did it for a couple of years, but it was so fun. It was kind of like an adult prom. We had it for a couple of years out at the fairgrounds, and then we also had it at the golf course, the country club. I guess it's country club, but anyway, what it was, our little golf course is called. And so we were able to do that. It was fun. It was a dance. It was dinner. It was silent auction and things of that sort. And we had a good time with that. I know it was also mentioned a couple different times about our dog care fair. That was a phenomenal event. It took a lot of work. We did it, I'm not exactly sure if it was 5 years or so. But it was a lot of work. It took like 6 months just to get things organized, to get all the vendors, to get all of the donations, to get the veterinarians, to get all that stuff done. That's so much fun. But one of the most fun parts was we used to have weenie dog races. And I'll tell you what, you unpack that crowd's getting a kick. I think Doug, did you make or you just held the starting gate for us? So he stored the starting gate for us because it was this big old long wooden thing. And so he put all the weenies down and that kind of stuff and lifted up and it was absolutely kick. But this was really a great thing. We would give the money to the Humane Society and different types of organization, Canine Friends, and that type, along with maintaining some of the money for ourselves. But it was basically really just a community event is what we were doing on that. We would be able to have free microchipping done for the animals and things like that. So we had a lot of people bringing dogs and stuff too. It was really a lot of fun. We held that at Riverside Park. And let's see, and then of course there were the photos on there too of shoes that fit. Again, most of you are familiar with that. So the bottom picture is shoes that fit. That was actually our last one when we had 164 pairs of shoes. And then the top one is, of course, us at our backpack stuffing program. So I just kind of wanted to bring up some of the different ones just based on the fact that some of you didn't probably know about our gala and probably didn't know about our dog care fair. And those were phenomenal events. Banner Bank, I was very pleased and honored to have been able to have been a Banner's Best for 6 years. Which was really a huge accomplishment to me, since I know especially been there for about 10 years. They basically were taking the top 4% of the bank's employees to give that honor to. So I always felt very, very blessed and honored to have that. And that's the one time I would actually get to meet Mark Rescovich, who is our CEO, because he actually lives in Ohio. So it was neat that he would be able to do presentations and that type of thing. The next thing that I got is posse. And so, like I said, I've been a member of the posse for a number of years. That's when I got to meet Dave and Pat. And not only are they friends, but they're family. They have taken me under their wing and just super friends. Dave has been a huge supporter of me becoming president of the Oregon Association of Mounted Posses. He'd been the president in the past. So he's been kind of leading me up to and helping me understand, the different things that need to go on for that. So it was very exciting, but they're very, very special people to me. Then the next photo is us of our posse. I had been named Posse Person of the Year in 2019. And so that was our little trophy for there. The next slide is actually when I was sworn in as president of OAMP. So that's me giving my acceptance speech as such, if you want to call it that. our photos of our board and getting sworn in by Sheriff Duncan, who is at Lady County. She's phenomenal. And then that's my new president's shirt. We're called the blue shirts. So I got that. One of the most special things, and this is the last thing, is every month, the thing I look forward to the most is spending time with my girls. We get to go and is spending time with the girls. We go, it's really cool. Connie contacted me about over 3 years ago and said, hey, you know, 'cause we haven't seen each other. I mean, we live in town. Joe and I live in town. Dad and I live in town. We never see each other. And all of a sudden, Connie out of the blue contacted me and said, hey, you know, we're thinking about wanting to try to get together for dinner. Well, we've been doing it every month for over 3 years, and it's the thing I look forward to every month. Are we going this time? When are we gonna get it scheduled? And so they mean the world to me, and I love the fact that we get to spend some of that time together. And that's it.
Wow, I don't know how anybody can ever follow that, because that is a pretty incredible story, you know, pretty incredible life. And I would like to say, one of the things that Jodi requested is, of course, no gifts, but of course we have gifts. But what we have done is we have donated $250 to the food bank in your honor. So I'm going to tell you what this is. Because that was the very least we can do for all that you've done. So I'll let you see it first, and then you're gonna give it to Patrice. How's that? Exactly. It's an efficient, right? You love efficiency. Exactly. We also have some cupcakes, so we would love to have you join us. There's chocolate on the tables because I heard rumor that she loves chocolate. So we made sure we had chocolate here on the tables for you to enjoy, and we also have some chocolate cupcakes. And I happen to know that both Dawn and Kelly make dynamite chocolate cupcakes, and so they have gone to the trouble of making. I'm sure it wasn't trouble, but they have indeed gone to do that for us, and so we're going to have those handed out. Meanwhile, our Sergeant of Arms is Dawn Walsh, and she's going to come up and lead us with the.
You were, yeah.
No problem about the cupcakes. I was licking my fingers a lot. Sorry. So I'm kind of thinking when Jodi mentioned the fact that her first banking job was Family Bank with Commerce, that was when I first met her because she was on that board. And she was beautiful now, just like she was then. All right, we're running out of time, but I did want people to know that last Thursday on March 26th, Jodi celebrated her birthday. And why am I telling you? Because from an astrological point of view, Jodi is an Aries. You may not be like big on astrology signs, but let me tell you what the charts say about Aries babies. They're competitive. She admitted it a little while ago. They're competitive in a good way, though. They don't stop at anything to reach their goals, and she's led us that way. Aries are also passionate and charismatic. And what I think from our club is who can tell Jodi no when she grabs the mic and talks about a project that we're doing and we're looking for volunteers. I mean, her enthusiasm is contagious, and thanks to that, we have done some amazing things. But most of all, Aries are born leaders, and Jodi epitomizes leadership. As she said, with the dog care fair, the backpack program, shoes that fit, she leads us to success. I have to say, however, what immediately comes to mind is the fact that she was president of our club twice, not once, but twice. After her first year, either because she had amnesia or possibly she was able to overcome presidential PTSD, Jodi stepped up again and led our club to another very successful year. This is about Jodi, the natural leader, and it pertains to our club. But think what this means for all that she has accomplished in her profession in the banking industry. That's pretty amazing. So retirement is not going to stop Jodi right off the bat. As she told us, she's going to be in charge of the posse organization for the entire state. Oh my God. And back to our club, she's assured us that she's going to continue to lead us forward. So Jodi, your retirement will be anything but a life in which you ride off into the sunset. You'll be saddling up your horse, rounding us up and leading us on to the next charge. Thanks. Okay, so this is Happy Bucks time and all right, Jim. But first, what I'm going to say is I'm going to give $10 apiece to Jodi's classmates to give us a little dirt about Jodi when she was in school. Who comes first? Somebody's got to come up with a good story.
You think about
Okay, Jim.
Okay, well, I have 10 happy bucks because Jodi's in our club. I want to thank you very much for everything you do, for your leadership, for your example. My wife and I have had a chance to be involved with backpacks and the shoes that fit as such. It's just what you do is just phenomenal. Thank you very much.
There must be a cheerleading story. Come on.
I don't have a cheerleading story. I just have a story. I moved here at 15. Jodi was my neighbor and she had horses. And so we were all freshman cheerleaders together. So I got to know her. So she says she'll take me for a ride on her horse. And I was excited and I'd never been on a horse. And so I get behind her. And as we're trotting along, she says, hold on. So I did, and we went over this huge jump, and I was like this, and holding on as tight as I can, and she stopped when she was done and looked back and says, "You're still on." She said, "You're the first one that's ever stayed on." Needless to say, I didn't go horseback right now. But I will never forget that feeling.
Well, mine is kind of a horse story also because, yes, Jodi and I we had a field in between us growing up, and I met Jodi when we started, I guess, at Illinois in the first grade. So we went through all 12 grades of school together. We rode horses a lot. I had this little Shetland pony that was just meaner than mean and would buck and rear. Jodi had Thunder. And was Thunder a Shetland pony or was it a Welsh? A Welsh. But anyway, we go ride, which used to be the sports park. It was a big field and we had a big track out there and all the guys would ride dirt bikes out there and we'd ride on horses and stuff. And it never failed. Every time we'd go out there, we'd be trotting along having fun. And all of a sudden Thunder would just go this way and Jodi'd go that way and leave her stranded and run all the way home down Lower River Road, and we just never knew how that horse made it so many times without getting hit by a car. But Jodi and I have lots of those stories and memories, but I didn't know she was going to turn out to be such a slacker in life. I always knew she was going to do wonderful things and leave a mark on people. So she's great.
$20 now comes the next 10. Okay, mine's not that bad, but it's a horse thing. I also moved here in first grade, so I'm a year behind them. But I rode the bus with Jodi, and I can't get this picture out of my head. And I don't know if it's a childhood just thing or if it really happened, but I really think it happened. I was sitting on the bus and Jodi gets on and she's galloping down the middle of the bus. And there might have been some whinnying, as she went, but every time I think of Jodi, that's what I picture. I moved away for a long time and came back and I teach at Sunny Wolf Charter School. And I was sitting in my classroom and walks our director with Jodi. I'm like, what is Jodi doing here? I haven't seen her in a long time. And I just have to thank all of you. And Jodi. Sorry. So I see firsthand
of what you all do. I told my students I was leaving today to go and told them who you were, and their eyes lit up. They get the backpacks, they get the shoes. So thank you. Thank you, Jodi. I have been emotional just going to Jodi's retirement. She's our banker. But we'll still see her around. So thank you.
All right, I don't know who can top any of that, but does anybody have one or two sentences they'd like to share about Jodi now or before? And now I'm crying.
No shame and tears. Took me a while to learn that. I just gotta say, I didn't know your maiden name was Jackson, and I'm gonna imagine that we are related. Because I deserve a good family like you.
Okay, it looks like we're looking at cards. 4 of hearts.
I got it.
Of hearts.
Well, thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful. I cannot tell you how touched I am and how impressed I've always been with Jodi, because I'm not quite as organized as Jodi. So I have, but that's okay. Maybe it'll come later in life. I'm still waiting for those moments. But I also want to say that I did get a banner to stick up on the wall, but it won't stick up on the wall. But I thought better than that yet. I'm going to leave it over here, and there's some markers over there. So if you'd like to say a word or write something, right over where the balloons are, there's a banner there that she can take home with her that has a thank you for who she is. So I will leave that there for you. And with that, I have a couple of quotes. The first quote for the day is, retirement is wonderful. It's doing nothing without worrying about getting caught in it. That's a good one. And this is the one which we know goes to Jodi. Retirement is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of the open highway. So on your highway, and we're glad we're along that ride with you, because we are so happy to know that you are not retiring from our club, and just retiring from the thing. And with that, I say thank you for all being here, and next Thursday, we'll see you then. Please stop over, sign, talk with Jodi. Yes.
Rotary meeting.
Oh, and we also have a Porch Fest meeting after this. So yes, so those of us who are pulling together Porch Fest, we're gonna meet right over here at this table, right by Dawn. All right, thank you. Have a great day. Have a good day.